Ghana's democratic journey dates back to the 1940s. That was when the Big Six, who are the founding fathers of Ghana's democracy, formed the United Gold Coast Convention (UGCC) at Salt Pond in the Central Region. These stalwarts were Edward Akufo-Addo, Joseph Boachi Dankwa, William Ofori-Atta, Ebenezer Akwa-Adjei, Emmanuel Beche-Belamte, and Kwame Nkrumah. Out of these six, three of them are from the same family of the president-elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. They are J.B. Dankwa, William Ofori-Atta, and Edward Akufo-Addo. Interestingly, each of these three political giants were lawyers of high repute. Perhaps, as the saying goes, like father, like son, Nana Akufo-Addo walked in the footsteps of his father and uncles and made impressive contributions to the law regime in Ghana. A renowned lawyer, Mr. William Adumwa-Bosman, recounts some of the cases the president-elect handled and which have become a case study, including the Antua chieftaincy case.
In one of the cases that I myself learned something from was the Antoine case. It was a chieftaincy case. But this was in, I think, 1977 when the Antoine case came up. And it was all concerned with the proper way and means of destooling a chief in Ghana. Prior to that, all of us knew that the way to destool a chief was to seize him by force, physically, remove his sandals, beat his head with the sandals, and pronounce that you've destooled him. And if possible, you fire 2 gunshots to seal off the destolment. Part of the result of Nana's research in the Antoine case was to establish that the proper way to destol a chief in this time and age was for the kingmakers, those who put the chief on the stool, to bring destolment charges against him, then ask him to explain himself. And that is before a sort of chieftaincy court of competent jurisdiction, according to the level of the chief. The research that Nana did led the court, and the court decided that you needed first for the kingmakers to serve destolment charges on the chief. And if he couldn't account for himself properly, then the chieftaincy tribunal would pronounce that he was liable to be destoled. And after that, the kingmakers can either reconcile with him or actually carry out a destolment procedure. The Antoine case, in the Antoine case, the judgment was given first in the High Court. It went on appeal to the Court for Appeal. And the judge who gave that distinguished judgment was Patrick Ennin, the late Patrick Ennin. But it was remarkable as a sort of landmark case. There, Nana won the case hands down.
He said one of the qualities of the 5th president of the 4th Republic is his ability to make painstaking inquiries into any case before he proceeds to the court.
As a lawyer, he was always distinguished, even as a junior. He was distinguished all the way until he became a senior lawyer. And now, by God's grace, President-elect of Ghana. While he was a junior, I noticed the care and concern with which he prepared his cases and presented them in court. It wasn't a general thing at all. Very few lawyers had that trait. And you know, it's important to stress the point because you see, it's a lawyer who takes a lot of trouble about preparing and presenting his cases who wins, or certainly is entitled to win. You know, I believe he picked up that trait from his father, Papa Ade.
Lawyer Adumwa-Bosman said though he was called to the bar before President-elect Nana Akufo-Addo, he used to go to court because it was a delight to listen to him.
When a man was president of Ghana, I think they wanted to vet the Chief Justice, Fred Apalu, and if possible, to change him And we, at least from the bar association, we decided that we were not going to allow that to happen at all. I think when the case started, I was president of the bar at the time. The bar decided that from their reading of the constitution at the time, it was not proper to recall Fred Apalu, vet him, and then approve or disapprove of him. We felt it was a trick to remove him and have somebody who was known as a sympathetic, pro-Liman Chief Justice. So the bar rose up against the whole idea of vetting the CJ. That was what led to the Amakutu Force case. The Amakutu Force was the plaintiff, in fact, and Joe Renouf was defending the Liman government's intentions to vet and, if possible, remove Fred Apalu. And Nana was the one that was chosen to present the case of all those who were opposing the vetting of Justice Fred Apalu. And as I tell you, he really burned midnight oil to prepare his case. In the end, we won. That is Amakutu for one.
Some Ghanaian lawyers who passed through his law firm, Akufo-Addo, Prempeh and Co., are among the most outstanding lawyers at the Ghana Bar today. They include Sophia Kufu, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Joyce Darko, Daniel Aferiaboa of What Do You Know fame, Philip Addison, Joe Gatti, a former Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Alex Kweno, Frank Davis, Kweku Pencil, Asila Owusu Atachia, Akoto Ampa, Yoni Kolendi, Kwame Akufu, Kwekwe Sirifi, and Godfrey Dame. A good number of these are astute lawyers who learnt their trade at the chambers of Nana Akufo-Addo were on hand during the 2012 election petition at the Supreme Court. The head of the legal team of the MPP during the election petition was Philip Addison.
There are no specific serial numbers for specific polling stations. It depends on the distribution of the pink sheets. Once that is done, whatever serial number is on a pink sheet given to a particular polling station becomes unique to that polling station.
Kwame Akufu says one of the principles he learned from Ghana's new leader is honesty and integrity.
I came to the bar in October 1998. I was one of the privileged few, myself and Felix Odati Wellington, who got admitted into pupillage in that office in that year. We came across a man who was very focused and demanded hard work, because he always knew that hard work produced good results. So this was the man that we learned under. In those days when we came to the bar, Akufo-Addo was very heavily engaged in the political aspect of his life as well, helping the Kufuor government to come into power in those days. And therefore, by dint of those circumstances, I had, for example, had three people masters: Nana Akufo-Addo himself, Philip Addison, and Atachia. And those were glorious years. Even though Nana Akufo-Addo left the office in January 2001, because he received appointment into the Kufuor government, he left footprints in my practice, in the formative years of my practice, which has marked the path that I still tread and walk. So he's been very influential in my professional life.
Atachia did not only learn from the tutelage of Nana Akufo-Addo in his chambers, but also stepped into his political shoes as the MP for Achime-Boakwa South constituency, when Nana Akufo-Addo moved on to contest the presidential slot on the MPP's ticket in 2008.
One thing that can never be lost on even his worst enemy is his intellectual capacities. Akufo-Addo has a razor-sharp mind, a consummate lawyer and advocate that we know him to be. A man who is not afraid to place a ladder on the wall for a lesser man to climb up. You meet men who have inferiority complex. They don't want anybody to matter. Akufo-Addo, as I know him, opened the door for several lawyers to come under his tutelage, and eventually some of us mastered a little bit of all the intellectual endowments that he had. We've earned a name for ourselves.
Nana Akufo-Addo is on record to have been cited 64 times in Ghana's law report for winning landmark cases, a feat that has been equaled by a few of his peers. Edward Nyakon, reporting for GBC 24.